Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how to use Dotted to keep a spec in sync with your Jira or Asana or any other task tracker that we support integration with. If you've ever been a PM or any other type of spec writing person or even a spec following person like an engineer, you know how difficult it is to keep your spec in sync with what's working, happening in your Jira. So what Dotted can do in this situation is it can actually keep those two things in sync for you, and I'm going to show you how. What I'm doing right here is I'm uploading a spec called AutoPRD directly from my OneDrive. And I'm going to connect my Jira, and then I'm just going to hit next. And what Dotted is going to do right now is it's going to create a project with some automations and some documents in it that are all linked together. And the way that we think about Dotted is that it is basically like your intern. So imagine how you would have an intern solve this problem for you. You might say, intern, I want you to, every day before I show up, go and look at Jira and look at this spec and make a report for me about what's the problem. Like what differences are there between these two things? And then in that report, give me a plan of what you want to do to fix it. And so that's exactly how Dotted works. We have this file in this project that's called drift analysis. And we have two jobs that we have written for it, two automations. One called assess drift, which runs every morning automatically, and one called correct drift, which only runs when you choose it manually. So what assess drift does is it actually comes right up in here and it reads the original spec, right, that you've uploaded, and it goes in, it looks at that Jira, and it updates this analysis of how far the two things have drifted. And then it creates or updates a plan on what it wants to do in order to correct that. But that plan won't be carried out until you click correct drift. So I'm going to run assess drift manually right now, and it's just going to go ahead and do this. So what it's doing is it's going and it's talking to Jira. It's pulling in all the information that it needs to about Jira or from Jira that has anything to do with this spec. And it's going to go ahead and it's going to update this document for us, and then it's going to update the plan. Now, I expect that what we're going to see is a lot of drift here because this spec refers to some work that we haven't started working on at all. So it's going to put together a plan for us for adding everything in that spec over into Dotted entirely. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, this is fine, but how are we going to do anything with any of this? Once the spec is updated, am I still going to have to manually pull this and re-upload it into OneDrive? The answer is no. Because we are already linked to OneDrive, you can just come up in here and use our OneDrive system to push the changes right back into the version of the document that this document is linked to. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get an updated version of this document. It's going to tell us what the drift is. If we agree with that drift, we can go and look at the plan that it has to correct that drift. If we agree with that plan, we can execute the plan. And if the original document, the spec, is changed, we can use Dotted to sync that change right back. Otherwise, we can just go and look in Jira and confirm that everything was correct. So here we go. Our drift analysis is coming back with a moderate drift, right? It's saying it's pretty bad. There's a lot of stuff in here that hasn't been created yet because we haven't been working on this. And then here's the plan. And so this plan looks pretty good to me. What I might do if I am completely aligned with it is I might come right up here and click on automations and click on correct drift. And that would go and execute the plan. But if I do not like what the plan says, for example, if there's some part of it that I'm in disagreement with, then I can come in here. Once it's done over here, we'll do this. I can come right in here and click edit. And I can just go and modify that plan directly myself. Oh, sorry, we just need to approve these changes. I can come right in here and I can modify this plan any way that I want right here and make any changes that I want to. Like, let's just say I made some changes, blah, 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 blah. Okay, then I hit save. And whenever I'm ready, I come right up in here and I click correct drift. And that'll go and execute the plan and actually go and make those changes to the original document or to the Jira. So there you have it. That's how you can use Dotted to keep your spec up to date always without ever having to do any work yourself.